Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
Oh, and I'm Count Jackula.
And he's Count Jackula. And I just realized we didn't talk beforehand about what we're vlogging today, but what we're vlogging right now is The Green Knight, which is the latest A24 film based on Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, the 14th century poem about the Arthurian legend of the Green Knight.
Give me your hand.
Give me your hand.
Oh, wait, that's the Green Mile.
That's the Green Mile.
That's Green
Wrong
Mile.
one.
Sorry,
Wrong
wrong
one.
one. Wrong one.
So we're going to be talking about The Green Knight. It is an A24 film, which if you're familiar with A24 films, they over the last few years have kind of made a name for themselves. The cat just fucking blew by and probably shook the camera a little bit there.
Yeah, kitty.
They made a name for themselves making these very artsy horror and thriller movies over the last few years, like The Witch, Midsummer, Hereditary, The Green Room. They've done a bunch of these things. So
Didn't they also do Lighthouse?
I think they did.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie they would have done.
If it wasn't them, it's a film very much in their style.
Yeah.
So they're very much known for making these super artsy horror thrillers and just overall weird movies.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of their works. And honestly, that is the main reason why I was looking forward to seeing The Green Knight, because Arthurian legend shit is very played out.
Oh, yeah. Look, I gotta be honest. There is definitely a part of me that's sort of like, oh God, more white man shit.
Yeah.
You know, whenever it comes to anything Arthurian, but you tell
Fair.
me A24 is doing it, and I'm like, all right, this is gonna go in some places we don't usually
And then
go.
the cherry on top, having Gawain, the main character, played by Dev Patel.
Yeah.
Which is very inspired casting. You don't expect to cast an Indian guy as one of the Arthurian characters, but they did in this, and good on them for doing it because he is great in this role.
Oh yeah, they did. Well, like, it was really interesting because they, like a good Shakespearean production, the actual plot is decent, but the true story is in the details.
Yeah. This is very much like other A24 films. This is very much an artsy film. It is not a horror movie. That being said, it is very much in the style of dark fantasy stories that have always been kind of horror adjacent.
Yeah.
Think movies like A Company of Wolves, maybe even Legend.
Legend's probably, it's somewhere between Legend and Company of Wolves.
Yeah.
This movie lives.
Yeah, it exists in somewhat that zone, that kind of dark fantasy zone, which is not necessarily horror, but there's definitely horror elements. Like, there's a ghost at one point. Actually, there's multiple ghosts at one point in this story. We're going to be talking about it because, hey, we fucking loved this movie and got a lot out of it. So
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the basic gist of The Green Knight is that it is a story about this guy, Sir Gawain, who is part of King Arthur's court, and during a Christmas celebration, a knight in green armor and a giant axe walks into the court and challenges all the knights of the Round Table to combat, and saying basically, if you can cut my head off, but in a year's time I get to cut your head off.
Yeah, basically, whatever damage you do to me, I do to you.
Yeah, I do to you. And Sir Gawain cuts his head off, and he's like, well, I mean, like, he's not coming back from that, right?
Yep.
Wrong!
And so
he fucking picks his own head back up and says, like, all right, I'll see you in a year, and then just rides out of the fucking castle, and that's how the story starts.
Yeah, and then like the rest of the story is the dread of Gawain going to meet his fate.
Yeah.
And the journey that happens along the way to meet his fate, with the fate being the knight's going to cut his head off.
Yeah. Now, in the original story of Sir Gawain, Sir Gawain is portrayed as very chaste, as very proper. Mm-hmm. The Gawain in this story is not.
No, he's not chaste and proper. His main struggle in this story, in this version of the story, is that Gawain, for those of you who don't know, is Arthur's nephew. So his main thing is that he kind of lives in the shadow of not only his uncle, but also all the other knights of the Round Table.
Yeah, that's true in the original too.
Yeah. So he's not had all these epic adventures. He's a little too young for it.
Yeah.
And even though there was a great big war before the movie started, he didn't really participate in it, so he got no glory, no whatever. So the fighting of the Green Knight is like his big opportunity to make a name for himself, to make Sir Gawain a knight among the other knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
But it comes with it this great big price that he is not necessarily willing to face, but he tries to face it anyway. And I kind of like the overall like to me this was very much a story about learning humility. Like,
oh yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like in the original poem, it's very much all about rising to meet your fate.
Yeah.
But the part of the twist of the movie is that the guy is constantly flinching away from his fate as he's going to meet it.
There are a couple times where he actually does take the challenge, but there are other times where he's like just straight up running away.
Yeah. He's much more cowardly than he is in the poem.
You know, and so I kind of like that. It very much feels almost like a coming of age tale in that way. You know?
Yeah.
You know, one of those stories where everything's a metaphor, but it's all a metaphor for life and death. You know.
Yeah, like one of the other things is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight has always had within its subtext the conflict, the great European conflict at the time, which was that of the old pagan faiths versus the incoming Christianity.
Yes. And this movie does a really good job of showing those two different like theologies or ideologies. Yeah. And how they both exist within Sir Gawain and him kind of finding equilibrium between this.
Yeah, because as in the original, in the old Arthurian stories, like there's no Christ, there's no Holy Grail, like there are magic items that do important shit, but it's not all this imagery of Christendom. That comes much later. By the time the poem of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight is written, that imagery has started to take over the Arthurian myth, and so we don't know who actually wrote it, decided to write it, obviously wanted to preserve some of the pagan aspects of European culture into this mythology that was taking over all the British Isles.
Yes. And the movie does an amazing job of like showcasing those two sides of the story.
Oh, right? Yeah, very much so. Like more so than in the original poem, the movie equates the characters that he meets with a lot of pagan archetypes.
Yes, 100%.
I say archetypes because they're not. It's a little hard to tell who's who, but you get an idea.
Yeah.
Like for instance, when he runs into the Lord and the Lady with the castle like close to the end. Like at first when you meet the guy, you would think it was someone like Keoghan.
Yeah.
Because he has this dog, but as it goes on, he becomes more like Lou, or Lou or Finn McCool.
Makes sense.
You know, and I think the idea was that he's supposed to represent kind of like all of those things. You know, but because that represents a pagan archetype, much the lady is very much based on I can't pronounce it, but there's a Celtic sun goddess.
Oh yeah.
Anishi. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
You know?
It's fine. I think people understand.
Yeah.
I mispronounce shit on this all the time.
Yeah, it's one of those like Celtic words that's got like a weird squiggle over it and everything.
There's gonna be someone in the comment section right now going, "It's pronounced like this, you idiot."
It's like this, you idiot. It's Welsh. Fuck you. And I'll be like, okay. Yeah, have fun typing out that pronunciation, by the way.
But like, even if you don't like pick up on all the metaphors and shit like that, like it's still a very compelling movie on the same level of something like The Neverending Story, you know, where you have a character.
It's much more adult.
It's much more adult, but like in The Neverending Story, where you have a character going on this long journey, and the stories about the weird characters they meet along the way and how each one teaches them something about life. Yeah, you know, and like it very much has that same kind of structure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's so good for that, and it's a beautiful movie. And the guy who does the voice of the Green Knight.
Oh man, I don't think he's just the voice. I'm pretty sure
he's. Yeah, I think he's the guy in the costume as well.
Because in the movie, the Green Knight is this gigantic fucking presence that is like he's made of trees.
Yeah, he looks like the fucking Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah.
Like the Jolly Green Giant lived in fucking Lord of the Rings.
And you
know?
can tell that it's mostly practical makeup and stuff like that, but they also have like little touches to make it like feel a little bit more alive, little CGI touches. The movie does a great job of mixing practical and CGI effects throughout the entire time. Like, there's a point in which there's fucking giants in this, and it's breathtaking.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. And like, one of the things I thought was interesting about the movie is it's I would say magical realism, but it's actually a little too fantastic for that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about the movie. It has this, on the surface, really grounded, almost gritty look and feel.
Yeah.
But as the movie goes on, it gets more and more fantastical. You know, so it's kind of like he like steps out of like medieval Europe and just walks into Narnia. Like,
in a way, yeah, but it's Narnia, but it's like a fucked up
it's a really
Narnia.
fucked up dark
Narnia. Not
like
it's not friendly out there. You know?
It also very much has a similar feel to like if you're playing a game like Skyrim and you're out doing quests.
way.
You know, like there's like one point in the story in which he like meets this girl in this cabin and she sends him on this like little mini quest. And it feels like something you would encounter if you were just walking in the woods.
It's so contained. Yeah. It's such a contained little bit, you know?
And it feels like the same kind of thing you would encounter if you were in Skyrim and just wandering in the woods and happened to come across a cabin. And then inside is this one quest giver, you know?
Yeah. Inside this one quest giver and you realize, oh my god! Oh no!
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of shit. It's really good. Oh, anyway, back to the guy who does who plays the Green Knight. His voice is amazing.
Oh man, I'll put the actor's name right here because he definitely deserves props.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in like Game of Thrones.
Oh, he's one of those.
Because if he wasn't, he should have been.
He's one of those actors that's in a lot of European medieval shit.
Yeah. Because he's got this really deep, gravelly, boomy, sonorous voice. Mm-hmm. You know, and so having him say like the Green Knight's lines, they're so.
We watched it when they did the online screening event, and so it was opened and closed by that actor showing up, and he was presenting the movie.
Yeah. He presents the movie, he reads you a little poem, and then the movie starts, and at the end he reads another little poem.
And even when he's not in character, his voice is just like you could listen to him read the alphabet, and he would be fucking mesmerized.
You could fucking tell that's why they did that.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, just read this section of the Green Knight and that's it. That's the promo. Because holy fucking shit, if they're not in by you reading these lines, nothing's gonna work.
All right, so I definitely highly recommend The Green Knight. I think it is a fantastic movie. Much like The Werewolves Within, it is probably one of my favorite movies I've seen so far this year. It is really fucking good, and it's
way better than that Sean Connery Green Knight.
And yes,
yeah, and that one's not like bad so much as okay,
yeah,
you know, like. I'll tell you, these Roger Corman level of effects and shit.
I'll tell you this much: when you've seen The Green Knight in this movie, trying to look at Sean Connery in that weird costume with all the twigs and shit.
Oh no, that's not gonna cut it.
It's not gonna cut it.
That's not gonna cut it.
It is currently available, now it is currently available on a bunch of streaming platforms to rent, so go check it out there and watch it for yourself. You will not be disappointed if you like A24 films, if you like artsy cinema, if you like Arthurian legend stories, and if you just like
dark fairy tales.
You're gonna fucking love the shit out of this movie.
This is definitely like somewhere in the orbit of like remember back in like the late 90s they were redoing a lot of fairy tales as if they were horror movies?
Yeah, like Snow White and well, god damn it, Snow White: A Tale of Terror?
Snow White: Tale of Terror. Yeah. Like, you know, so if you like that kind of shit, here you go. Here's another one. It's real good.
Absolutely. And with that said, we're gonna move on to the spoilers because it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it.
Yeah, we want you to see this movie because, well, that's spoiler shit.
Exactly. So here are the spoilers.
Okay, so for those of you who are familiar with Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, you know how it ends.
Yeah.
You know how it ends. Like, basically, it's all... what it really is a test of courage and honor.
Yep.
You know, as long as dude shows up and is willing to die, as far as the Green Knight's concerned, that's good enough.
Yeah. If you show up and you're willing to have him, like it looks like he's going to take your head and you just accept that fate, then you have proven yourself to be an honorable man. And then he doesn't.
Yeah, and that's it.
You know, you've beat the game, and you have proven that you are worthy of all the honor that was bestowed upon you for fighting it.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, this movie does something really cool, which in the moment, right before the Green Knight fucking takes his head off, or doesn't, they do this last temptation of Sir Gawain thing.
Yeah. You get to see what his life would be like if he just ran away right there. Because up until this point, he's been kind of cheating his way through the whole thing.
Yep.
He's been wearing this sash that makes it so that he won't be hurt. So even if the knight takes his head, he'll still survive it.
Yeah.
He's been running away from challenges when they happen. He's been avoiding challenges when he can. He's basically just, like, with the exception of the one woman's head that he retrieves for that one woman in the cabin, he's pretty much just been, like,
he's just a feckless coward.
Yeah, just kind of getting by on pure cowardice. So he has the flash of what his life would be like if he ran away right then and just went back home, got married, and became king when his uncle died.
Yeah.
You know, and like it is a very much this miserable existence where he doesn't die, but the people around him dies, and like wars happen, and like,
he's king, but everything else sucks.
Yes. And everything is just terrible, and he doesn't get to live his life, and he also has to live with the knowledge that he is ultimately a coward.
Yeah.
That what he has achieved at this point, what everyone praises him for, he's not actually worthy of that praise.
Yeah.
And this hangs over him for the rest of his life until you reach like the end of the end of the flash forward, and he's like, the castle's being stormed and he's being overthrown. And he takes off his sash and his head just falls off.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, they come and behead him anyway.
You know, but then he wakes up back in the Green Knight's fucking temple. Chapel. The Green Knight's chapel. And tells the knight to wait, and then takes off the sash, and then goes and accepts his fate instead.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the beautiful
ending.
The amazing tongue-in-cheek end on a punchline ending that I love, but I also know is extremely controversial among people who saw this movie. But trust me, if you're like Jack and
it's perfect.
You're gonna love it.
It's perfect. I could not stop laughing.
I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You're gonna have to find that punchline when you get to the end of the movie, because it's just perfect. But the other thing this movie does is it also ropes in a lot of other myths and legends into the story that weren't necessarily part of the original poem.
Yeah, like the Headless Woman wasn't part of it.
Yeah, that was like a separate poem that they added into this one and just kind of made it work, because it is about a woman asking someone to retrieve her head from the swamp. And so he has to go into the swamp, retrieve the head, and bring it back to her. And oh shit, she's a ghost the whole time.
Yeah, and given the stuff that they change in the beginning, they kind of have to do this thing where it's like, oh man, we got to put something in here for this second reel.
Yeah. What I like about it is they made it all thematically kind of aligned together.
They did.
You know, he's like
really
retrieving someone else's head while he's off to go lose his own head.
Yeah. Thematically relevant.
You know, And I also love that because they're like, so much of this is about honor and humility and stuff like that. The whole like losing your head metaphor is kind of beautiful, because it's kind of like oh, once you're willing to lose your head, like you're now the humble knight, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're willing to. If you're willing to die, then
your ego is now gone.
Yeah,
this is just
exactly.
They also like I don't know if the original poem, because I never read the original poem, did it have the giants?
The original poem did have the giants.
Oh, what about the fox?
The fox, I can't remember if it. I don't think so.
So over the course of this story, he runs into this fox that he kind of befriends, and the fox follows him around on various journeys. And when he enters certain challenges, the fox kind of scurries off.
Yeah.
While he goes to do the challenges. And then towards right before he's going to go to the chapel, the fox turns around and starts growling and barking at him, like, "Don't go in there," blah blah blah. And then the fox talks. And it talks with like a weird combination of this weird gravelly voice and like his mom's voice.
Yeah.
So like there's like the subtle inclination that maybe the fox is his mom the whole time, or either that or it's using the mom's voice to try to tempt him.
Right.
Because the fox is trying to get him to run away, which again is the thing that he imagines.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie. So the fox once again feels like another temptation.
Yeah, because like how to put it, like the original because of the way they presented the story, like it's heavily implied that Sir Gawain's mother is Morgan Le Fay.
Yes, it's heavily implied in this one where you see her actually casting a spell that the presumption is summons the Green Knight.
Yeah.
That's at least the presumption I had.
Yeah.
Because it was happening right as the Christmas celebration was happening and right before the knight showed up.
Yeah, she is either predicting it or summoning him.
It's one of the two.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this movie that's open to interpretation, which is actually part of the thing I really like about this movie. It's very obvious that the filmmakers had a very specific intention, but they left things vague enough to where you can kind of read some of your own shit into it.
Yeah.
And that's a great piece of art that can do that, where it has a specific meaning, but it also has a an overall meaning that you can take other things from.
It invites you the entire way. You know,
it's a conversation between you and the movie, as opposed to the movie just telling you everything.
Yeah, it's one of the things that makes the movie so.
Oh yeah, well that's usually what I really love about A24 films in general. Like, they tend to be those kind of artsy films that invite that kind of back and forth between the audience and the movie.
Yeah.
In a way, most mainstream blockbuster movies don't, because most mainstream blockbuster movies are just straightforward movies.
Well, This one's most big blockbusters are intended to elicit like a big emotional reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically.
That's about emotional investment, stuff like that. It's not necessarily about getting you to think up here.
Yeah, exactly. Which the Green Knight definitely is.
Yeah. Also think in here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like not just having emotions, but having intelligence about your emotions and kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And a good art house film will do that, and this is definitely a good art house film.
Oh, very good, very good. I think it's right now one of their best.
Oh fuck yeah, hell yeah! I definitely am gonna look forward to whatever else this filmmaker makes after this.
Yeah, I gotta say to all those people who didn't like the Green Knight, man, you weren't paying attention, you didn't get it. Or I don't know what the fuck's wrong with
There's a contingent of people online that just have a hate boner for A24 in general.
Why?
And to be fair, there's been some mediocre A24 films. Like It Comes at Night was.
Oh, that
wasn't very good.
They're not all gonna be winners,
But I feel like there's also a lot of people that don't like watching movies on the level that A24 kind of asks you to. A lot of people just want to turn their brains off and just kind of enjoy the movie and not have to think about it too much, outside of the on the surface plot shit,
Yeah, but without all the weird, without a great combination like that, you don't get things like. I mean, it's a completely different medium that I'm talking about, but you don't get things like Junji Ito.
True.
Because that's a guy who's a master at doing both of those things.
Oh, sure, absolutely, absolutely. I would agree. There's this weird contingent, and they frustrate me because a lot of them make hating A24 films part of their identity, and it's fucking bizarre.
That's ridiculous.
It's really fucking bizarre. So I'm not surprised that The Green Knight has its own controversies in that way. So did Hereditary, so did Midsommar, so did The Witch.
They're all crazy.
All of these movies get that thing. Movies like the Green Room didn't necessarily have that same reaction because
it's a different type of movie.
It's a little bit more straightforward, and on top of that, it also went more under the radar compared to some of these other movies, which weirdly enough got mainstream success despite being art house films.
Yeah, that's the thing I find is so interesting about A24 is that it's so these. None of the good A24 movies back in the 90s would have made anything in the box office.
No.
They would have been complete direct to fucking VHS.
Films like what they made would have been cult films among a very particular audience and would not have been mainstream success.
Yeah. It would have been shit like Kafka.
The thing that makes them as a studio so fascinating is they've managed to take the Blumhouse model and make it work for art house films.
Yeah.
In particular, dark art house films, which is another genre that adds another layer of this is not usually made.
Yeah, it should not work. Yeah. By all fucking Hollywood logic, these movies should not be successful.
But they found a way to make the model work, and it basically came from doing what Blumhouse does.
Yep.
Making very low budget films, making sure they do everything within this budgetary margin, spending enough to market it to where the mainstream world knows about it, but not overspending to where they're $100 million in debt marketing the damn thing.
Yeah.
And also specifically targeting the kind of audiences that would be interested in it. As well as the other part that's part of their model that's not necessarily part of Blumhouse's model is they take it to festivals too to generate initial buzz.
Yeah, which is a really, really, really good idea. Those A24 releases are starting to get a reputation, man.
Yep, 100%. And that's also why the backlash is also a sign of their success.
Yes, definitely.
The fact that there is enough people to have a hate boner for it means it's successful enough that it's on everyone's radar.
Yeah. If you didn't get it, like, not everyone's like really like hooked into like story and mythology. So you don't get on that level, that's okay.
That's why I say, like, look, even if you're not hooked into the mythology, even if you know shit about Arthurian legends, if you like movies like The Neverending Story, which were also extremely metaphorical and steeped in myth and legend, and even if you didn't pick up on all the myths and legends,
it's, Gamork, that's Fenris. Stop fucking with me.
Even if you're not hooked into that and you still enjoyed that movie, you can probably still enjoy The Green Knight. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
This one's just more for adults. So anything else you want to say about The Green Knight?
No, I think that's it. Should we do our... Yeah, okay. You can follow me at Twitter on Counting Jack. One word.
New Twitter account.
Satanic Jackula on Instagram, or you can follow me on Count_Jackula at Twitch.tv, where I stream twice a week starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Thursday and Sunday. And I got to figure out which day to add, because I definitely need to make it 3 days a week.
Yeah, I think 3 days a week will work for you. It would probably. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like Monday, or like Tuesday or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. If you would like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And if you made it this far into the vlog, what hashtag should they use in the comments below?
Hashtag Green Axe.
Hashtag Green Axe. If you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to put in a comment below, and be sure to comment below. Give me that engagement. A comment below with hashtag Green Axe, and that will let me know, as well as Jack know, that you watched our vlog all the way through. And that just makes us super fucking happy. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and it's Wednesday, so we're going to record 2 more vlogs, so see you when those come out.
I'm still pissed off that there are people that didn't like Werewolves Within. I don't know what's wrong with people.
I don't understand. That movie... Okay, all right. I'll talk about this briefly here before we sign off. That movie has a hate base because of the Ubisoft connection. And while I understand why... I understand why this is complicated for people, because if you're familiar with all the abuse that happened behind the scenes at Ubisoft on a corporate level, then seeing their logo at the beginning of the movie is like a big red flag. But, and I do want to stress this, no one involved with the production of this movie had any involvement with the abuses that happened behind the scenes at the game studio.
Yeah, because those are all like the execs and shit. And
exactly.
Like, those aren't going to be the same guys who were like making the movie.
So while I understand it brings a red flag, puts a bad taste in people's mouth, and made a lot of people have trouble enjoying the movie afterwards, I do feel like there are some degrees of separation here that should be considered. Now, I know everyone has their own little limits on where to draw the line in the sand there, but for me personally, I can't attribute the abuses of Ubisoft, the corporate entity, to these filmmakers that just decided to make a fun Clue-like movie.
Well, there's another aspect of this. I can be just straight up honest with you. If you're gonna hate a movie based on that kind of shit, which on an emotional level I get, but you gotta realize that like all the movies you watch, just take half of them and throw them in the garbage, including half the Marvel movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, like I don't mind taking it out on the people that did it. I don't even mind taking it out on the company. Don't take it out on the movie.
Yeah. I don't think.
You know,
like I said, there's such a degree of separation here. Like, I understand that, yes, if you pay for the movie, you might be putting some more money into Ubisoft's pocket. Yes, that's true. But I I don't think boycotting...
That's what VPNs and acquiring movies is all about.
Well, here's what I know about the movie business, because we're talking about shit that happened in the game industry.
Yeah, exactly.
In the movie business, boycotting Werewolves Within hurts the career of the people who made the movie.
Yeah, not the
studio that made
studio. Yeah, never the studio.
Like, that's something I don't think people understand about the way the movie business works. If a movie doesn't sell, they don't blame the studio, they blame the people who made the movie. So.
Yeah. A movie doesn't suck just because Ubisoft did it. The movie... Dude, Prince of Persia was just bad.
It's a little different. It's a little different in the games industry because the studio is the entity that makes the movie.
Yeah. But in the world of movies, there's so much separation between those two things.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
so just that's just my plea for Werewolves Within. I plead for people to consider that.
Yeah. Come on, watch the movie; it's really fun.
Yes, and with that said, let's peace out and move on to our next vlog.